Lena had always been independent. After finishing college, she moved into a small but cozy apartment in an old building. It wasn't the most modern place, but it was cheap, and as a young woman living alone, she figured it was perfect. At first, everything was fine. She decorated her space, set up her work-from-home station, and started getting used to living by herself. But after a few nights, she started noticing something strange, small things out of place. A cabinet left open when she was sure she had closed it. Her toothbrush moved to the other side of the sink. The closet door slightly ajar when she never used it. She chalked it up to forgetfulness. Maybe she was just tired. Then one night she heard the noises. It was around 2 a.m., and she was lying in bed scrolling through her phone when she heard it. A soft creaking sound coming from above. Lena froze. Her apartment didn't have an attic, or so she thought. She held her breath, listening. It was faint but unmistakable, slow, deliberate footsteps moving across the ceiling. Her mind raced. Could it be the building settling? A raccoon? But these weren't random sounds, they were steps. She tried to sleep, but couldn't shake the unease. The next morning, she called her landlord and casually asked if there was any attic space above her apartment. His response made her stomach drop. "No, there's nothing above you, just the roof." Lena felt sick. That night, she barely slept, every sound making her jolt upright. Then, at exactly 2 a.m., the noises started again. This time they were louder. Something was moving above her. Terrified, she called the police, whispering into the phone as she sat frozen in bed. They arrived within minutes, searching the apartment. That's when an officer noticed something strange. A small panel in the ceiling near her closet, slightly misaligned. They pushed it open and shined a flashlight inside. Lena's worst fear was confirmed. Inside the hidden crawl space was a sleeping bag, half-eaten food wrappers, and a rusted knife. Someone had been living above her, watching her. The police searched the entire building, but no one was found. Whoever had been up there knew they had been discovered and escaped. Lena moved out immediately. But to this day, she can't fall asleep without checking the ceilings first. Emily had never been afraid of being alone. At 17, she was used to her parents going out of town for the weekend, leaving her in charge of the house. She actually enjoyed it. She could binge watch horror movies, stay up late, and eat whatever she wanted. But after this particular night, she would never stay home alone again. It was a Friday night. She had just finished watching a scary movie when she heard a soft whisper. She paused the TV. Silence. She brushed it off, thinking she was just imagining things. Then, a few minutes later, she heard it again. A soft, breathy Emily. Her blood turned to ice. The whisper was coming from her bedroom closet. Her heart pounded in her chest. Was it just the wind? A trick of her mind? Slowly she stood up, grabbing her phone for light. The closer she got to the closet, the colder the air felt. She took a deep breath, gripped the doorknob, and yanked it open. Nothing. Just her clothes and old storage boxes. She let out a shaky laugh. She was just freaking herself out. But then, something breathed behind her. Emily spun around so fast she almost fell. No one was there. The air in the room suddenly felt suffocating. She ran downstairs, heart racing, locking every door and window before curling up on the couch with the lights on. She stayed awake for hours, trying to convince herself it was all in her head. Then, just as she was starting to doze off, a text message buzzed on her phone. It was from an unknown number. "Why did you close the door? I liked watching you." She screamed and ran outside, calling her parents. They rushed home and called the police, but after searching the house, no one was found. The only strange thing they did find, a small hidden vent behind Emily's closet, leading to the attic. Whoever had been whispering to her had been inside the house the whole time. Jake was 14 when he stayed home alone for the first time. His parents had gone to a wedding out of town and wouldn't be back until morning. He was excited: video games, junk food, no bedtime. But that night would change his life forever. It was around 11 p.m. He was playing video games in the living room when he saw something move outside the window. At first he thought it was just a tree branch. But then, In the reflection of the TV screen, he saw it again. A face, a pale, grinning face staring at him through the glass. His breath caught in his throat. Slowly he turned his head, but when he looked directly at the window, it was gone. Maybe he imagined it. Maybe it was a trick of the light. He forced himself to focus back on his game. A few minutes later, his phone buzzed. It was a text from his mom. "Who's that in the house with you?" His stomach dropped. He quickly texted back, "What do you mean, I'm alone?" His mom replied immediately, "I just checked the doorbell camera. Someone just walked inside." Jake felt like he was going to throw up. His hands shook as he muted the TV. He could hear soft footsteps in the hallway behind him. He grabbed the nearest thing, a lamp, and sprinted to his bedroom, locking the door. He barely had time to hide in the closet before he heard his bedroom door creak open. Jake held his breath, heart hammering in his chest. Heavy footsteps approached the closet. The door rattled, then silence. Minutes felt like hours, then the sound of sirens. His mom had called the police, and by the time they arrived, the intruder was gone. But they found something disturbing. The back door wasn't broken into. It was unlocked. Jake swore he had locked it earlier. Had the man been inside the house before he even saw him at the window? Jake never stayed home alone again.